caller ID, call forwarding, call waiting, and call blocking.
I think it's time you cut the blue wire.
Cut the blue wire. Save up to $250 on your phone features with RevVoice. Get RevVoice. Save money.
Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, a closer look at the Panama Papers linked to the Bahamas. The latest on a case of suspected Ebola in the country, and a school mourns the sudden death of an educator. Welcome to our news. I'm Christina McNeil. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, more details about the Panama Papers are coming to light as we learn more about the 11.5 million records international journalists have uncovered through a data leak of documents from Panama-based global law firm Mossack Fonseca. According to the International Consortium of Journalists, which partnered with a German newspaper, the reports reveal the offshore holdings of 140 politicians and public officials around the world, including several current and former world leaders. The Prime Minister of Iceland is the first major casualty of the Panama Papers after the reports revealed allegations that his family attempted to hide millions of dollars in an offshore account. He has denied any wrongdoing. Then there's the current president of Argentina, Mauricio Macri, who the Panama Papers note was on the board of a Bahamian company managed by Mossack Fonseca while he served as the mayor of Buenos Aires. This as the Bahamas government maintains that the Bahamas remains in compliance with international standards. Well, our news asked you how you feel about the Panama Papers. Here's what we found.
Did it come as a shock when you heard the news?
Not at all. We are a major offshore center, so seeing the Bahamas, it didn't really surprise me, but I'm interested to know the details.
No, it didn't come as a shock.
Not really. Things like this have been going on for a long time, and in Switzerland, they do the same thing.
I don't put nothing past what they do here in the Bahamas.
Are you concerned about it at all or no?
Not really, not really.
I'm absolutely concerned about that. Anything that casts the Bahamas in a negative light should concern us all.
To find out more about this story and more, visit our Facebook page. Well, less than 2 weeks after an investigation was launched into the death of a Bahamian woman who died upon her return to the Bahamas from a trip to South Africa, Ministry of Health and Public Hospitals Authority officials addressed reports that her death may have been linked to Ebola. Minister of Health, Dr. Perry Gomez.
My ministry has confirmed receipt of a report from the Centers of Disease Control, commonly known as the CDC, in Atlanta, Georgia, regarding a 51-year-old female patient of the Princess Margaret Hospital who passed away on Sunday, March 27, 2016. The report confirms, through conclusive testing for Ebola, that the patient was not suffering from Ebola infection. This concretely rules out the possibility of Ebola as a cause of death in this case. The concern, I guess, arose because you had a patient with fever and who was quite ill, who had traveled to Africa. However, in this case, it was not an area of Africa that was affected by Ebola. Africa is a very large continent, in fact, the largest in the world.
Gomez and Managing Director of the Public Hospitals Authority, Herbert Brown, agree that the work of local healthcare workers and international partners made the difference in confirming what health officials knew early on.
The Ministry of Health is grateful for the collaboration with our international partners, including Dr. Kathleen Israel, the local Pan American Health Organization representative, along with PAHO Washington team in Washington, D.C., which facilitated the testing through the Centers of Disease Control.
I really want to seize the opportunity to commend the fine work of the professionals within our Princess Margaret Hospital. They did an outstanding job. At the end of the day, they followed to the letter the protocols in order to have this specimen taken out of the country and have it tested. So we are very pleased with the work of our fine team.
While Ebola has been ruled out in the case of the 51-year-old woman, a pathology examination will reportedly continue to determine the cause of death. In other news, the usually quiet corner of Soldier Road and Turnquest Alley was the scene of an early morning police investigation following the apparent sudden death of a female homeowner. Chief Superintendent of Police in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Paul Roll, explains what police found when they arrived.
Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a woman here in the Soldier Road area. We should be able to provide some further details later after the investigation with our forensic authorities.
Neighbors and friends of the 54-year-old woman say it was just Sunday that she returned from traveling overseas.
It's a shocker to know that she just come back from Atlanta, and knowing that I gone there now this morning and found her dead in the house, in her room. Well, I haven't seen her a couple of days, but yesterday she walked across the street to the neighbor to get a ride, and she left and she went to school.
Our news understands that the woman has been identified as Sharon Johnson McCoy of Nassau Christian Academy. The loss of the prominent educator was felt throughout the school, according to NCA Principal Brentford Isaacs. Her homeroom students say Johnson McCoy will be remembered as a great educator and overall person.
She was so kind. Even though she was hard on us, she was a kind teacher, and we know that she was hard on us because she cared about us.
Miss Johnson was a loving teacher. She never let anybody get failed on our exams. Some of us didn't do too well. We still pull off some good grades.
I don't feel too good. Have chills, wondering how this could happen. She looked a little sick yesterday, so feel bad today.
I feel heartbroken and sad.
And she's had her mark on her math department. She's done extremely well. A profound teacher. She is dedicated. She was on time. She was almost always at school. Very good, a very good record. And she pushed her students and really motivated them. And as I said before, she scored the best lower school, junior high math teaching in the history of the school in its 47-year history.
An investigation will be conducted to determine her exact cause of death. More than 2,000 international delegates will converge on New Providence this week for the annual IDB Inter-American Development Corporation meeting set for Baha Mar. Coordinators of this year's conference are eager to show that the Bahamas has risen to the challenge of hosting the major event. Our news correspondent Nina Lang tells us more.
More than 2,000 international delegates will converge on New Providence this week for the annual IDB Inter-American Investment Corporation meeting at Baha Mar. And coordinators of this year's conference are eager to show that the Bahamas has risen to the challenge of hosting the major event.
It's a good effort for the Bahamas to pull it all together and to manage it, because we are a developing country. And I think we have demonstrated in our planning that we understood and we were able to meet the requirements of the bank, which was very high. We have had tremendous feedback, and they commended the Bahamas because normally they are not this ready this far out. The bank came in on Easter Sunday afternoon, and we were ready.
Together, the government and IDB have invested approximately $11 million into hosting this year's meeting and have employed some 200 residents in managing the event. While unable to accommodate delegates at Baha Mar as initially hoped, coordinators were able to secure hotel properties across the island for conference guests.
They have all really given full support. We probably about 80% in Melia Breezes, we have Sandals, we have Atlantis, we have the new Marriott Court on Nassau Street, we're all the way to Laifiki Island House. So every property was able to give us the amount of room so that we can accommodate our overseas guests.
IDB IIC 2016 will kick off on Thursday and conclude on Sunday. For our news, I'm Nina Lang.